Everyone likes a good Mario game, jumping from platform to platform, jumping on Goombas, setting things on fire, and rescuing Princess Peach from that prick Bowser is essentially a good time. But what happens when you completely change the format of a game concept? That's right, Mario takes a dive into the infamous RPG world, complete with paper art style and turn-based battling. Since people who played Mario had the attitude of let's get this over and done with, people were very hesitant about it. But this jump to the RPG universe was highly successful, making a game that is better than most Mario games even today. Ladies and gents, this is Paper Mario 2: The Thousand-Year Door. Now here's where we talk about story. Now you're all thinking, it's the Mario game, you collect stars and get the princess, it's all the same. But what's so unique about this game is that it actually does have a different story, and it's actually one of its selling points, considering the half-assed stories in the Mario games today. One day, Mario gets a letter from Princess Peach saying that she's gone to a town called Rogueport, a shitty excuse for a town, just like Detroit. She invites him to tag along in finding ancient treasure beneath Rogueport with her. With the letter, Mario receives the map of the treasures. Mario decides to head over to Rogueport, and just like old times, he's immediately thrown into the battle zone between Lord Crump, the leader of the vagabond group called the X-nauts, whom is looking for the treasure that you are looking for, and a small female Goomba named Goombella. You being Mario, you promptly hand their asses to them, and they run away. You meet up with Toadsworth, and apparently Princess Peach hasn't been seen for a while. Wow, Toadsworth, good f***ing job. Goombella then introduces you to Professor Frankly, a Goomba with horrible memory, and he explains the story of Rogueport. See, Rogueport actually sits on top of an ancient civilization that met its end due to a cataclysmic event over 1,000 years ago, and he reveals to you the sealing mechanism that sealed the specific cataclysm was the Thousand-Year Door. The things used to seal it are the crystal stars, and the X-nauts' plan is to collect all the crystal stars, open the door, seize the cataclysmic object, and rule the planet. But to find the crystal stars, you need a map. Where's the map? Mario has it! The map PP gave you is the map to find the crystal stars, so essentially she dumped this all on him. Is she really worth the trouble? So your job, as you guessed it, is to find and collect all the crystal stars before the X-nauts do. Along the way, you meet up with other friends who want to join your quest. It's surprising in itself that a Mario game has an actual plot. The story takes many twists and turns, and it actually has something that most video games seem to ignore these days: humor. There are countless times where you get a good chuckle listening to these guys banter back and forth. It also plays off of the paper concept and breaks physics for a good joke once in a while. Peach is being held for an unknown reason by the X-nauts, and Bowser has been surprisingly given the second fiddle to the main villain and the real leader of the X-nauts, Sir Grotus, and he does the job pretty well. Most of the characters are really well done, each given their own distinctive personality that separates them from each other. The story is a very good example that Nintendo can make a good story, they just don't want to for the newer games. Since Nintendo wanted to make Mario exactly like an RPG, they had given him all the qualities of one. Single player and all that jazz. Each section where you collect a crystal star is called a chapter, and each chapter always gives you a new buddy or sometimes a new power-up. The main town of Rogueport is essentially your way of getting around to different areas. Go underground and you have your route to get to each area with a crystal star. Each time you collect a crystal star, you go to the Thousand-Year Door, and it shows you where the next one is. The process repeats, but the method of actually getting there is for you to figure out. Each area of travel has a specific theme, and it's eager to show it. Each village has a specific problem, and those problems are the ones more than likely that are the result of a crystal star. Though collecting the crystal stars isn't the only thing to do. Since this is an RPG, there's more to do in Rogueport. You can take on people's problems from a booth and gain more experience or treasures. There's also one mission in which you get something even better. There are also tons of mini-games, both one alike to that of a casino and the Glitz Pit where you fight people. The game also splits up the game, giving you control of Peach when she's captured and leak information to Mario about the X-nauts, and it gives you control of Bowser and his story of terrorizing village and traveling through in a Mario Bros. Format. Why they did that, I don't know. The layout is nice and simple, but nothing really spawns from anywhere, resulting in some sort of staleness, and even though traveling from place to place is a common characteristic of RPGs, it does get annoying at some point. Since Mario has traded in his gas and go gameplay for the slower turn-based battling, people were pretty skeptical. However, this is one of the few RPGs in which it's actually tolerable. Gameplay is pretty simple. If you run into an enemy, you go into a battle sequence with more enemies. Some of your partners also play a role in the battles, giving you edges in battle, or giving information about the enemy. There are also special moves corresponding with the crystal stars that you've gotten, ranging from direct attacks to power-ups. You can get numerous items and power-ups from shops that can turn the tide in battle, but you have to be careful with attacks or otherwise you end up hurting yourself, like jumping on a spiked enemy or touching an enemy that happens to be on fire. You grab badges to enhance your abilities or make you impervious to certain attacks. There are abilities that exist within the battle arena and abilities that you can use outside, like the hammer and the jump. Paper Mario 2 centers itself on a clear goal but throws hurdles in your way. Luckily, it's fun to jump them. For example, you know where to go and how to go, but something always blocks your way and you have to backtrack to figure out what to do. These little side quests take you off the beaten path for a few minutes for either a good joke or a later meaning. The best part of these side quests is that you never feel like you just wasted your time, because it's actually fun to solve these problems and get a reward for it. There are also a lot of puzzles in the game, ranging from pathetically easy to moderately difficult, but it's never something you'll be stuck on for hours. Usually it gives you a clear hint on what to do and how to do it. Halfway through each chapter you get a new partner, from a wimpy Goomba to an Admiral Babam. Each partner will give you alternative paths and abilities to keep you going, either to open up a pathway or to get a specific item that was previously unreachable. Nintendo also plays off of the paper concept by eventually giving Mario the ability to turn into a paper airplane, turn paper thin to slip through gaps, a paper boat, and more. None of these powers can be used in the battle arena though. It's nothing new. Actually, it's pretty obvious that Nintendo took concepts from other RPGs and implemented them into this, but the concept is wrapped around so tightly that the way the concepts are depicted in this game are original on their own. It's obvious of Nintendo's graphical style that they decided to go with. The landscapes are realistically rendered, but every character and enemy is two-dimensionally drawn. Even though it looks strange at first, it fits in unusually well. Sure, some things don't look physically possible, but it fits in so well that you don't care what it looks like. Every character is 2D, but enemies and vehicles such as watercraft are 3D. Instead of an actual 3D rendered shape, Nintendo decided to go further with the paper concept and make a 3D shape out of 2D pictures. It looks extremely weird and sometimes really goofy. But you realize that Nintendo isn't trying to make something complicated. Sounds are pretty decent, nothing really sticks out of the ordinary, but there are also no bad sounds either, or anything of bad quality. The issues with the graphics, though, are some of the backgrounds are a little rough looking. I know they're trying to make the most out of the paper gimmick, but some of the backgrounds seem a little bit too flat, even when they're trying to pass it off as a real background. Nintendo did this graphical technique in which the areas that you can't pass through look like the edge of a pedestal. Whenever you get a camera sweep of anything looking in the opposite direction of the area you're facing, it looks like the water or the land is cut off. To be honest, it looks strange and makes you feel like you're encaged. An RPG should feel like it's an open world, but this effect just makes it seem the opposite. Why couldn't they just have an invisible wall and have the sea or land expansive? I don't know. But even if there are tons of things on screen, the frame rate goes smoothly. There is one instance where if you blow off a poster, the frame rate will mysteriously drop dramatically. But otherwise, graphics are nothing short of fantastic. In the end, Paper Mario 2 went above and beyond the regular Mario games today with an enjoyable and funny story and cast, unique ways of getting around, and ultimately a good time. This is proof that a game's format can completely change and still be enjoyable, or even better than what was the previous format. This game gets a nice place in the Hall of Fame for video games, and it truly shows. My rating on this game is a 9.4 out of 10. Great job, Nintendo. You should be proud.